lot of younger poets, I guess poets in my generation and stuff. The political poetry is obviously very popular.
Yes.
And it was important to me that my poetry be political, but I was more interested in upholding our culture than I was in dealing with, like, say, for example, criticizing mainstream culture, which is not to say that it shouldn't be criticized, because it definitely should be. But I think that ultimately our culture is what should bind us together, not the fact that we're oppressed. You know what I'm saying? Because if tomorrow all of a sudden we're not oppressed, then what is there that holds us together?
Yeah, you need some fabric to
and so our culture should be that. So, and also I think a defining moment for me was Amir Cabral's statement that when an oppressor wants to oppress you, the first thing that they attack is your culture.
Yes.
So to me, the first line of defense should be upholding your culture.
The culture, because that's the front line.
Right.
Yeah. We're standing on the front line, Stevie Wonder said.
Yeah.
And it is war when you think about it. You know, we're at war, and we don't know that we're at war because, you know, it's not so blatant as, say, maybe it was 30 years ago.
Right,
But it's still, it's still war, and it's, I think because it is subtle, that makes it even more powerful and twice as deadly.
Definitely. You look at books like The Bell Curve, this book on race and IQ, and what they've done is taken the same old racial theories, but this time they've sugar-coated them, and they've marketed them better, so it's a kindler, gentler racism, so to speak, and it's much more appealing. Like, white people feel like they can believe this stuff, and they're not racist, even though that's a ridiculous concept.
I think it appeals to the way it's done now, because it's very polished and refined, if you will.
Right, definitely.
Dr. Francis Cress Walton would say it's more refined. It appeals to the average white person, you know, more than just blatantly come out and say, well, these people are, you know, genetically inferior.
Right.
We built the pyramids. We were the first people. If we genetically inferior, they came from us.
Right.
So if we inferior and they came from us, what does that make them? They know who the original people are. So I don't want to get too deep here, but but with your poetry, I'm glad you focused that, because poets have to be conscious. You know, you got to be conscious.
Yeah, definitely.
And so many poets just think, you know, I should just write about the birds and the bees and nature poetry, which is beautiful. I love nature poetry, but I like to deal in social issues as well. I like to deal in anything, but particularly social issues. And there's, you know, sometimes I may deal with romantic stuff or whatever, but you do all kinds of poetry also.
Right. Yeah, I try to have a broad range of poetry, and I also like to have poetry that deals with historical aspects, but also deals with contemporary issues
as well.
Like, for example, I call my poetry rap poetry.
Okay.
You see, and rap poetry is like my voice. It's a choice manifestation, kicking what the drums be depicting. It's like syllable knocking, rhythm rhyme rocking, syncopated talking is what's up with rap poetry. See, I took the words rap and poetry, pippy popped the P's and pronounced it rap poetry. See, this is full lips, percussively playing words, flipping the script on a rhythmical tip. See, I'm a beatbox, my bebop, then New Jack swing out. Because this is what rap poetry is all about. It's about ideas combining in line to rhyme, intertwining, redefining as rhythms of thought break down into sonic electronic phonics, leaving you in a condition that's chronic. Every phrase, kicky scratching its own profound sound. See, I'm a hum-diddy-dum like hits from a drum, shelling the soundscape with a barrage of boom-bap beats, while my microphone checking syntax, wrecking tongue dances like feet, body rocking the methodology of hip-hopology. Each verse rocked until they're all interlocked. Cause see, rap poetry is hip-hop. Pippy poetry. So yeah, that's like an example, you know.
Yeah, that's beautiful, brother.
Thanks a lot.
How you incorporate all that? I do some, you know, social commentary is very important.
Yeah, definitely.
And I did a piece. I'll run down to you a piece that we did about a year ago. My brother and I did this together, and the poem is simply entitled "Dear Lord," about a mother who's on crack cocaine. The poem is told through the eyes of a 10-year-old child. Dear Lord, can you help my baby sister and me make it through another night? You see, our daddy's in jail for hurting a man, and our mama's on the pipe. Lord, this won't be a very long letter. I'm tired from putting the baby to sleep. She's crying because she's hungry. You see, we don't have any food to eat. Grandma wants us to come live with her. She said this is no place for children to be. But Mama don't want to lose this check she gets for my sister and me. Lord, I really don't like those men who curse my mama or the things she let them do. And I'm so afraid sometimes when they try to touch me too. Well, Lord, I have to go now. My sister's crying again. I try to do the best I can for her, but you know, I'm only 10. Dear Lord, can you help my baby sister and me make it through another night? You see, our daddy's in jail for hurting a man, and our mama's on the pipe. Please, Lord, if you find the time, won't you bring our mama back? We were so much happier before she started smoking crack. I love you. And that's the piece that we had done. And people tell me that it's awful, moving and touching. I did that poem once in the mall. I was doing a book signing at one of the bookstores, and the lady I was doing it for, I looked up and she's crying, tears just screaming down her face. And I asked her, I said, ma'am, what's the matter? She said it really hits too close to home because her and her mom had taken her sister's kids. Right. Her sister's in drug rehab, trying to straighten her life out. Addiction to crack cocaine. Right. So I like to write about real things as well, man, and that's the beauty of poetry. Now, I don't know if I could have a poem of that emotional magnitude. I don't know if I could have said that in a short story or an essay. So poetry does lend itself to certain, I guess, emotions, if you will, but not just emotions. But I don't know. I don't even know if I could have said that as well if I had written that in a short story.
Yeah, poems definitely condense emotional experiences down. I think it was Rita Dove who said poetry is like a bouillon cube. Mm-hmm. It's like very strong and very condensed, and it enhances the emotional impact of things. Definitely. Yeah,
that's so very true. Who's